house over there. Hey, John, how are you?
Yeah, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Are you Louisiana?
Baton Rouge.
I didn't know that.
Right up the road from this guy.
That's right, that's right.
Well, congratulations. That is something to be identified. even an insult like that, I think, this is it? Is this it?
Yeah, thank you for that, Stephen.
Yes, another false story. Okay, this is like the President of the United States came after you. This was last year. And it's an honor, you know, as if you disagree with the guy, and he's just the President of the United States, to even be on the President of the United States radar. It must feel pretty good to have the man say, another false story, this time in the failing at New York Times, that I watch 48 hours of television a day. Wrong. I also I seldom, if ever, watch CNN or MSNBC, both of which I consider fake news. I never watched Don Lemon, who I once called the dumbest man on television. Bad reporting. What do you do? What do you do when you see that? This was in December of 2017. The holidays are coming. How do you...
It ruined my Christmas. I don't really think about it.
Really?
I think everything a lot of what he says is the opposite. So
he
I
thinks
think
you're the smartest man.
I'm the smartest man on television.
How did you find out? Were you following his Twitter feed? Did someone say, Don, check your Twitter feed?
I think I woke up and people texted me and said, oh my gosh, stay strong. And I said, for what? What happened? Have you seen the president's Twitter feed? I said, no, I don't follow. I unfollowed him. I can't. It's too much.
Really?
Yeah.
He's the president. How can you unfollow the president? He's the most powerful man in the world.
Trust me, I know what he's doing every single day. I have to talk about it for 2 hours.
Really?
Yes. Every 5 nights a week, 2 hours, I have to talk about the president. I know what he's doing. But yeah, I unfollow. It's too much. There's too much tweeting and too much confusion. But I don't pay attention to that.
And I just want to go back to this for a second. You don't feel like you have to follow the president's Twitter feed because, you know, sometimes they say what the president tweeted he means, and sometimes they say, look, guys, the tweets are not the policy. The policy comes from this podium.
Right.
How do you know when it is one or the other?
Well, I think one of the issues is that sometimes we put too much pressure or too much substance on what he's writing on Twitter all the time. And I think we should be a little bit more judicious about what we put on television and what we talk about.
So when do we pay attention to the president?
When it affects policy. If he's talking about immigration like we're talking about now, if he says something about that, fine. But calling a journalist dumb, I wouldn't even put it on television. I don't care. It's a badge of honor, as you said. I just brush it off and keep moving.
You know, the First Lady...
Oh, yeah.
The First Lady, as we've talked about here, she wore this thing down to the border that said, I really don't care, do you?
Yeah.
Now,
you didn't do it in your Trump voice, but...
What'd you say? Oh, no, because it's not him.
Yes,
it's
right.
the First Lady. And, you know, she got a lot of criticism for that and a lot of strange questions. And our people said, it doesn't mean anything. No hidden meaning there. But the president just tweeted this. He said, I really don't care, do you, written on the back of Melania's jacket, refers to the fake news media. Melania has learned how dishonest they are, and she truly no longer cares.
Do you see a pattern there?
I see the pattern of his team says it means one thing, and then he says it means another.
And her office says it means nothing, and so there you go. Listen, I think it was tone deaf.
But it's worse than tone deaf. Who the hell wears that jacket?
Well, if you let me, exactly. If I walked out here and I had the same thing on, you would ask me about it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, what is it you don't care about?
Yeah, what is it you don't care about? So I think it's odd that they are wondering why the media is asking what did that mean, and that there was some meaning behind it. Because obviously, if you wear those big letters on your back, then people are going to... And there's a question mark. That means ask me about it. Don't you?
How do you've been covering, as you say, 5 nights a week, 2 hours a night. How do you deal with covering the president? And I'll go back 1 second before you answer that question, which is on New Year's Eve, you famously appeared on air after a few cocktails, all right?
A couple.
Is every night New Year's Eve for you? Is every night? How do you cope with the being a vehicle for the information that people need to know? But often it's bewildering or distressing.
I should probably drink a lot more than I do, but seriously, it is, I'm not kidding, it is exhausting. I was telling your producers, I'm exhausted.
Well, you look good.
Thank you very much, hair and makeup. I've had a cold for like 2 weeks or allergies or whatever. It's just every night it's like drinking news from a fire hose. I used to wake up early every morning and study and read everything, and I still read everything, but my show would change 15 minutes before air, and everything I had studied for was out the door. And so that typically happens every single night.
Every day feels like an emergency drill.
Every day. And every day it's just one thing after the other after the other.
One of the things that's a recurring sort of distressing data point and theme with this administration is using race as a tool to divide people. It started off with, they're sending their rapists, the murderers, they're not sending us their best. Both sides, they're finding people on both sides in Charlottesville. What's happening on the southern border has certainly a racial component to it. What do you think the state of race relations are in the United States, and how are you, as an African-American reporter, how does it affect your reporting of that?
You have hit on probably the most important story of our time, especially when it comes to this administration.
It's what I do, Don. It's what I do.
I think it has everything to do with race, and we were told, or people would have you to believe that this was about economic anxiety. Every single study and survey shows that this was about people who were losing power, losing influence. It was about race. People were concerned about not having the same level of influence as they had, and they were concerned about
perhaps losing their privilege.
Losing their privilege, and that's what this is about. And so I think that as a country, what is interesting about this administration, I think that it is offering us the opportunity to figure out who we're going to be. And are we going to be the people who shut people out and put them in cages and put them in camps and separate them from their children, or are we going to be a nation that welcomes people in with rules, of course, and be the America that we're supposed to be, the shining city on a hill with the golden door at the
we can't keep the change from happening. We are going to be truly a multicultural society in the next 30 years because white people aren't reproducing enough to replace ourselves. That report came out this week.
That's a concern.
More white people are dying than are making the babies. And so we are going to be a multicultural society. It feels like these are people throwing up sandbags against, or these actions, like, say, the southern border actions, these are sandbags against a tide that is coming in and that we should not necessarily be afraid of.
So when you are used to sort of having your way and the world reflecting who you are and what you want, when the playing field is being leveled, it can feel like discrimination. For straight people, gay rights now, they're having to deal with gay rights. For religious people, they're having to do, in America, they're having to deal with religious pluralism. So you may think that your rights are being taken away when really the playing field is being leveled and the country is just evolving. We're going to be a majority country very soon, and some people don't want to deal with that. They don't want to see the change.
Well, I enjoy watching CNN. I mostly watch CNN at night, and I love your lower thirds. I love the things that appear at the bottom of the screen, which gives you a little boil down, a basic idea of what the story is that night.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Here we go.
But some of them can be almost seem like jokes.
Are these
guys
real?
Are writing. These are. I want to play a game with you right now. I have a list
Oh
of.
my God! I knew it.
This is CNN chyrons here. I want you to guess which one of these are real and which ones were made up by my writers. All right? You guess. Okay, ready? All right. Number one, right there. Trump, I thought being president would be easier.
That's real.
Hold on. Trump, I got a call from the head of the Boy Scouts. He didn't.
That's fake.
Okay. President's spokesman says he can't speak for the president.
That's true.
That's true. Okay, all right. These are. I'm not going to tell you if you're right or not. You say these are true. Say these are fake. Okay.
All right.
Pence denies Trump said things he said.
That's true.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Local third. Okay. Trump defends tweet rants with a new tweet rant.
Yes. Maybe
Source.
not on that one. I don't know.
Source. President lonely, angry.
I know that to be true when he first moved in.
Okay. And president gets 2 scoops of ice cream, everyone else 1.
That's true. True.
They're all true.
I got most of them. I got most of them except for one.
CNN Tonight airs weeknights on CNN. Don Lemon, everybody.